please elevate this bar. On opening government, we have DLSUD. On opening opposition, we have UPLDB. On closing government, we have UPLDA. And on closing opposition, we have DLSU. My name is Mikaela, and I'll be the chair for this round. Paneling with me are Kurt from ADSCORE, Jake from ADDU, and Jillian and Joel from UPD. I just want to remind the audience that to try to keep your reactions to a minimum volume so that the debaters will be audible to the panel and especially to the live stream. Without further ado, on the motion that this House as a medical community would revoke Dr. Strange's license to practice medicine, we'd like to call Prime Minister. Here.
Here's the problem. We think there's a prevalence of misdiagnosis and mistreatments where operations go wrong because there aren't enough sufficient equipment, especially in, let's say, public hospitals in developing countries. We think then, right, in many instances, in the instance of Dr. Strange, for example, we think that doctors have the ability to, let's say, neglect that patient and send him to, let's say, a better hospital. But we think that these doctors act on their own selfish interest and instead operate on this individual even if they know that they aren't able or competent enough to operate on these same individuals. What is then this debate about, right? Given the incompetence that has happened, do we as the medical community, do we have the right to revoke that license? Coming from opening government, we envision a world where we revoke the licenses of these doctors who have grown irresponsible and incompetent in their actions, given that they're already aware that they cannot operate on these individuals. We say it's right for us to revoke this license. What then do we want? What then do we want to define in this debate to make it clear? First, what do we think is the role of the medical community? Because we think it's about ensuring competent medical practices, and we have two standards for doing that. One is about non-maleficence, about how you should do no harm to your patient. But secondly, it's about how you should never be negligent, and you should make sure that you do the right procedures for your patient. You make sure that you're not understaffed. You make sure that you have the right equipment. These things we think are in principle what the medical community should be doing. Given this, what then do we think is our burden? We have to prove to you how Dr. Strange has been incompetent and we have the right to remove his medical license and not operate on anyone else anymore because we think the lives of many other people are in Dr. Strange's hands and we should stop it. Given this, what then is our argument in this debate? First, why do we think in principle we have the right as the medical community to remove the medical license of that doctor? We think Dr. Strange, firstly, had a contract and a Hippocratic oath about how he should do no harm to the patient. We think then, right, these doctors have a responsibility to make sure that he has proper equipment to be able to operate on that patient, that he should be aware whether his current equipment is enough or not. What then is the context and the problem with Dr. Strange, right? We think then, when he's operating in an understaffed and also equipment which is already, let's say, not sufficient or it's already malfunctioning, we think then he had the awareness to be able to, let's say to the patient, I shouldn't operate on you, given that my equipment is not enough. We think then, right, it violates his principle of non-maleficence because he knew that his equipment can malfunction and also have a wrong diagnosis. We think that leads to a domino effect to a bigger problem because now you end up doing more harm to the patient because you aren't solving the patient's root problem, right? We think what happens is that now you misdiagnose the patient and you cause more harm given that you aren't giving him the proper treatments. What then is the alternative? And what happens if we did the right decision? We think on our side, we think the better decision should have been for that doctor to, let's say, send him into another hospital that could have operated on him better. We think that's really the better alternative, but on their side, that doctor made a selfish decision. Secondly, about negligence. We think that doctor made an active choice of being able to operate on this patient even if he wasn't even competent or let's say, able enough to do so. We think then, right, that doctor in himself was an active participation to the conflict of him leading to his death. We think then he's the reason why this patient died because he operated on him even if he didn't have enough materials. Before we move on, sure.
First of all, he can't send him to another hospital. This is an emergency room. It's an emergency case. Second, does that mean by logic that public hospitals should stop treating patients?
No, look at the info slide, right? The info slide that Dr. Strange believed that he think that this was the only alternative. But we think this is not an this is not an ultimate thing. We think this debate exists in an imaginary world where we have to think, are there other alternatives possible? We say coming from opening government, he could have sent him to another hospital because Dr. Strange only believed this. We think that we have to question the rationality of Dr. Strange in this debate. But secondly, why do we have the right to remove this license? Because it compromises the medical community and its principles and its credibility. Why, right? Because now what the medical community has to face is that you are allowing a doctor who is currently operating with, let's say, substandard medical equipment to operate on other patients. We think what happens is that you lose the credibility of the medical community because now you're allowing doctors to keep doing substandard practices. That's problematic because the medical community is about putting up the standard of when can you operate in the first place. We think then the medical community has to have a firm stance of when can we operate on individuals. That's why we say we think that if we don't have enough equipment and if we don't have enough staff, we have to make sure that those standards are up to par. What is the comparative, right? On their model, they're going to be complacent with people who have substandard practices. But in opening government, we say we have to force institutions to be able to keep up the standard with the medical practices. No, thank you. Second argument, why do we think this creates a more competent medical community? We think firstly, we think that doctors must act with prudence and responsibility. But we think this is inherent to the decision-making calculus of doctors. We think in our side, we're able to fix that decision-making calculus. Because the moment that doctors are aware that they know that their license can be taken away, the moment that they indirectly kill a patient, that means doctors are then forced to be able to weigh other factors, for example, their medical equipment. We think that decision-making calculus is important because now doctors are forced at a standstill. Am I really competent or prudent enough to work on this patient? We think on our side, Dr. Strange is able to weigh in the probabilities of success. We think then, on our side, we have more competent doctors because now they make sure, is the operation going to be a success? So now doctors are forced to make sure that their operations, if they're going to do it, is going to be a successful one. In their side, that decision-making calculus is not present because doctors can keep operating even though there are extremely low chances of success, even if their systems aren't even working at the end of the day. Secondly, we think that these decisions, doctors are inherently selfish and, let's say, profit-oriented. That's why on our side, we say that in order to keep up with the principles of the medical practices, we have to make sure that they keep up the standards of being able to make, to keep the current medical equipment up to par with the standards. But thirdly, why do we think, third argument, why do we think it's right to pin down accountability to the doctor and not to the institution? Because we think that these doctors are already aware of the current state of their institution. Given this, with the awareness that you have, we think that doctors have the ability to weigh, am I competent enough to work on this patient? We think that the fact that the doctor made a selfish decision to work on that patient, even if the probabilities of success are very low, we think that's a direct harm and we violate the principle of non-maleficence. In conclusion, what you have to remember from my speech, we think that doctors have indirectly killed this patient, given that you work on that patient, even if you have, let's say, quote-unquote, Bolo, let's say, equipment. We think that we have to keep up with the standards of the medical community and keep the credibility same. This is how we open government. Thanks.
We thank the Prime Minister for her speech to opening opposition. We'd like to call the leader of opposition. Here.
It wasn't clear coming from Prime Minister what the world really looks like on their side. What we say is that Dr. Strange might likely be a Mario doctor who lives in far-flung areas who don't have enough funds, or is more likely to be neglected in the political system because they don't have political capital to ask for funds. But secondly, we feel this bari doctor is powerless against that system because he's only the front line of services and not upon the deciding factors of how you're going to give funds and how you're going to allocate services, something that we think is highly politicized at the end of the day. But we think that given this type of context, that doctor is only left to one option. How is that doctor even able to give a dignified death to the people that he serves? We're going to respond to three important things that come from Prime Minister. He then said that ridiculously, send it to another hospital without telling us what the world really looks like. First is that, we think this is likely to be a third world, and if you send it to other public hospitals, the outcome will still be the same. So how are you going to put down accountability on that side? Sit down, there you have your chance. Secondly, if it's a private institution, it's least likely for them to even have services on that type of model because these people are more likely to be poor. But even if they are rich, the motion assumes that the death is going to be inevitable and it's not going to be reversed by any type of system or any type of medicine that's going to be offered in that private institution. But even if it's in the first book, what we're going to say is that this person is more likely to be a poor black or Mexican immigrant. Why? Because he chose the poor public hospital in the very first place. We think that if he chooses to go to a private institution, assuming that is possible and the disease can be reversed, we think that he would be more likely to be drowned in loans or debt. And we think that majority of immigrants don't want to be held bondage to those types of debts at the end of the day. After my responses. Second is that they said that we need to have the right to remove license. You have given us a principled discussion as to where do we remove licenses in the very first place. What we're going to discuss is that the intent of the person is the most crucial factor, but second is how that interest of this medical community. We say that if it's a substandard hospital, it is the fault of the doctor under their side. But we think that doctors are just frontline service people who don't have power to be able to purchase materials, to be able to purchase incubators or even like medical technology at the end of the day. In fact, it is DOH and the Duterte administration and all of these politicized institutions who made those hospitals underfunded just because of the political interest to be able to marginalize people in areas where they didn't win. Even if they are complacent, we think their burden to prove is that how are they able to make sure that these people have power to be able to change that system, but at the same time to also recover in that type of system. Last response. They said that the decision-making calculus will be better under their side. But that decision-making calculus is already tweaked because of the materials that are only available to you. But even if that decision is tweaked, you put them in a tough position to push them to do unethical means to be able to solve the type of disease. What does that mean? That means that you cut other people from the line where before you push other individuals to work over working hours or go beyond their necessary needs to be able to save that individual, even if we all know that person is going to die anyway. For one, sure.
First, to whom do we give licenses to? But secondly, why is the financial harm to the patient more important over not being able to get better treatment elsewhere?
Because we think that the financial harm would anyway cripple the person's ability to find other opportunities at the end of the day. So he'd likely be dead anyway, then just live with debt and be in prison when he tries to steal money just to be able to pay off that. We think that the debate is about where do we take away licenses. And we say that you only take away licenses where there is clear intended malpractice. Doing dubious surgeries, even if there's highly unsanitary premises, right? But secondly, when you exploit the information asymmetry and power asymmetry, like we saw it in hide-and-go or profit-hungry officials at the end of the day. But our burden to prove is that there's no clear intent to have malpractice. But secondly, even if we are aware, the machines are only so limited. The question to debate is, how is this individual able to fulfill his oath as a doctor to be able to give that person a dignified death? Sit down. The first argument is about the idea of intent. Why is intent the crucial, the most important way for us to be able to treat that individual? We think that the information and power, the intent gives person information and power to be able to control a person's fate and decisions. Because you were at the prime position to act and you abused the power by putting his life at risk. Why is this not applicable here? Because you're just a frontline body doctor who does not have power against the system to be able to solve the resource allocation services. What will be the impact? Three important things. First is that doctors are less likely to assist or alleviate the suffering of other patients in the future because these licenses are crucial to their livelihood. What will they treat? They will only treat cold. They will only treat fever, things that can be easily treatable and not severe cases that disallow them to be able to treat at the end of the day. Because they fear that if we go to the extent of treating the most extreme cases, I have the threat of losing my license because I don't have enough machine and I don't have enough materials at the end of the day. But the second impact here is that the state shifts off accountability because we say that it's a body doctor's fault, it's not our fault why the person died. We already gave him enough money to be able to buy all the materials when in reality those materials are not enough. What do we suggest? We suggest that we hold the state accountable by giving taxes, public services to avoid further injustice to people who are already alive. Because we can't already give justice to a person who is already dead. How will they do that under their model? We think that it's not his fault because the diagnosis, the nurses, medical technicians, and IDDUs are already so limited. So it's already set up to fail, it's set up to kill people. Secondly, what is it in it for the medical community? Three things. We think one, the medical community wants the third goal to trust science. The second is to hold the state accountable, but second is to motivate and increase the morale of body doctors. What does the local look like? It's controversial, it's public, and it's broadcast on TV where third goal people are more likely to rely on information. Three important impacts. First is that you lessen the trust in the scientific community because they saw that these people are more likely to create malpractice, and it's more likely to be wide scale because every public hospital will face the current scenario and everyone will stop trusting the scientific community. They go to the folk doctors or go to fake doctors. Second is that they want to hold the state accountable. But under the model, you're not able to do that because the merit now is that it's individuals' fault and not the system's fault. Lastly, you're least likely to allow individuals to become body doctors or encourage them to become public doctors because they will fear that they will lose their license. Go to private hospitals where materials are available, where institutions are well funded, and we think that's bad for a country like the Philippines. For all those reasons, we're very proud to oppose.
We thank leader of opposition for their speech. To continue opening hand, we'd like to call Deputy Prime Minister. Here. Hello.
Can I just not use the mic instead? Because everyone hear me.
The live stream would hear you.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I implore you to read the motion. The operative word there is Mr. Strange, ladies and gentlemen. It is a question of the circumstances. At this point in time, if Dr. Strange, ladies and gentlemen, did actually have number one negligence, they did advance an action negligent enough to cost the life of Mr. Stark, ladies and gentlemen. And secondly, why it is at the interest of the medical community to remove Dr. Strange to begin with, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, it is not our burden to prove that, it is not our burden to prove that we would want to empower people in the barrios, ladies and gentlemen. Because we would agree, we would want to provide funding in those areas, ladies and gentlemen. We would want to expand our resources in those areas. But the question to debate is our analysis of the circumstance wherein if Dr. Strange had the ability to diagnose and treat, ladies and gentlemen, and we do not file that there is an urgency, ladies and gentlemen, given that there is a time frame that you are able to diagnose, ladies and gentlemen, and that you are aware of the lacking of resources and infrastructure, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, if you're aware of that, ladies and gentlemen, and if your actions are consequential, are you still responsible for the death of Mr. Stark, ladies and gentlemen? So the question is two things. First, is it legitimate for the state, for the medical community to do this? And second, is it at their interest, ladies and gentlemen? Two levels of responses before I continue my arguments. First, they told us that we're being complacent here. We're allowing these people, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why why the death of Mr. Stark happened isn't necessarily because of the decision-making calculus of Dr. Strange, ladies and gentlemen. It was because of the environment he was in, ladies and gentlemen. But at that point in time, he was aware of the environment he's in, ladies and gentlemen, that he had a lack of infrastructure, he had a lack of resources. So if that is the extent, and if you are aware that your actions are consequential, ladies and gentlemen, isn't that a responsibility? Or isn't that a responsibility, ladies and gentlemen? In fact, they told us, and Albert told us, that the standard in this debate for us judging his negligence is the intent, ladies and gentlemen, whether or not it was benevolent, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, we question, was the intent even benevolent to begin with, given that the interest of Dr. Strange is to have overconfidence in himself to solve the problem, ladies and gentlemen. The intent was rather negligence on his part. If the intent was benevolent, he would have been able to refer Mr. Stark into another hospital, ladies and gentlemen, with more infrastructure and more capacity later. We have two levels of argumentation that we would want to talk about. First, how it compromises the interests of the medical community, and second, why does the medical community have legitimate grounds to do so, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at the first argument. What's the interest of the medical community to begin with? Why does it exist? It is to produce proper and competent medical operatives, ladies and gentlemen. The competence is constituted proper decision-making calculus later. In fact, it's even integrated with non-malevolence. Our actions are consequential enough to place a patient under critical condition, ladies and gentlemen. Two levels of analysis. At that point in time, there were particular options that the doctor had. If he was misdiagnosing someone with a faulty machine, ladies and gentlemen, then wasn't it his responsibility to put him in an infrastructure where he was diagnosed with proper machinery, ladies and gentlemen? Second, this case, in fact, is a high-profile case, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, if you as a medical community allow Dr. Strange to exist in the medical community as part of your roster, what happens is you allow the medical people within the community to sympathize with the plight of Dr. Strange. What happens is you allow other medical operatives within the community to subsume this narrative and allow that form of decision-making calculus of being negligent, ladies and gentlemen, is a legitimate decision-making calculus that could compromise the lives of other people, given that their actions are that consequential to the lives of people. Before I continue, please.
Does that mean we want public hospitals to just never treat hard cases?
No, not necessarily. Here's the thing. We should be realistic with regards to our capacities, ladies and gentlemen. If I myself, I'm in a barrio clinic and I'm dealing with someone with, stage 4 cancer and I don't have, the resources and the infrastructure, what would I do? Should I, just solve the problem with my fixed machines that I don't have the capacity to do so? Second, ladies and gentlemen, and this was the standard coming from opening opposition. What are the legitimate grounds of the medical community to do so, ladies and gentlemen? There are two things that we want to talk about. First, when you entered as a doctor, you had an oath, ladies and gentlemen, to do no harm. The Hippocratic oath, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, this is your actions can be consequential enough to kill someone, or even to put someone in critical condition, ladies and gentlemen. If in this instance we are able to prove that there is a malpractice on the side of Dr. Strange, ladies and gentlemen, then we were able to fulfill our burden. But the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, other than the capacity to advance action and place the person in a particular medical condition, what happens is, ladies and gentlemen, if there are particular limitations, obviously you have to be aware of that. And it's not just he was aware, he should have been aware, ladies and gentlemen, that these particular actions may lead to particular harms. Now, what's the impact here, ladies and gentlemen? If there are particular instances that your actions are unable to do enough, ladies and gentlemen, and you are not aware of your limitations as a doctor, you are prioritizing your own interests, not the interests necessarily of the patient. So this is diametrically opposed to the Hippocratic oath and to the mandate of the doctor to protect the interests, given that the intent was not necessarily for the patient, but only to himself, ladies and gentlemen. The burden coming from side opposition is this, that they have to prove to us that despite the legitimacy of the medical community to do so, and their interest to do so, given that Dr. Dr. Strange is a high-profile doctor, ladies and gentlemen. Well, despite that, why should we still keep it in our medical roster? We beg to propose.
We thank the Deputy Prime Minister for his speech to conclude opening argument to call Deputy Leader of Opposition. Thank you.
Hello? It's working. Okay. Ultimately, there are two interests that we have to balance. The first interest is governance. They want accountability. But we draw the line, right? What if he's accountable? And this is what my case is going to be about. Assuming he is accountable, the accountability A does not exist because he intended to murder this individual. The accountability exists because he did kill him, regardless of the intent. But we would contend, and this was Albert's case, which was ignored by the previous speaker, that the reason why accountability is a lesser value, because if we push for accountability, it ultimately hampers the accessibility of these hospitals to everybody else. It's not a debate about one particular hospital, but the debate is about the ripple effect of the decision on all public hospitals. That's why we're going to lose on that point of engagement. But the second engagement is just going to be a clarification. Given that they didn't question that this happened in developing nations, we're going to assume it's a concession. So let's start with the first argument, right? The idea of negligence. Was there really negligence? Was this person really negligent to begin with? One, doctors have to go through literal years of training. They have to go through 10 years of residency, 10 years to attending, and 10 years of med school. It means that we can assume that if you are a licensed doctor, you pass the basic levels of competency. What that then means is, they assume that this doctor is incompetent all of the time. But we say that this doctor may have just made the mistake for one at a time because he has already proven that he is competent historically, right? But the second layer of analysis is this. It assumes that there was no sense of urgency. And this is important because in a majority of instances where we do have a case of Mr. Stark over here, it's always likely that it's already urgent, where you need to make a split-second decision, where it's literally between life and death. In a majority of instances, doctors choose life. They choose to exhaust every single effort in order to keep this person alive. What's the problem and how does that calculus then change under their model? And this is important because we could have changed, right? Because they say doctors are selfish, but doctors are more likely to be selfish under a model where you encourage them to let a patient die because they want to maintain their careers as doctors. What is the mean? In public hospitals, a majority of instances, we're going to treat diseases that are easier to cure. Maybe flu, maybe cough, right? But at the point in time, somebody comes in with a gunshot wound, and we're not entirely sure if the defibrillator is going to work. It's highly likely we're going to let that person die. So now what's the conclusion? If their goal is where the doctor, if the question of the debate is where the doctors best fulfill the Hippocratic oath to literally save a life, it happens in a model where they have an incentive to continually save a life. Because under their model, we punish them for every single mistake. But under our model, we understand that that has to be something we trade off because it means literal billions of Filipinos in rural hospitals with no other alternative for literal miles unless you want to pay 5 billion pesos, which you cannot afford. Get that sort of treatment, right? That's what we're likely to help people. But the next layer of analysis is this. Actually, before I move on, closing.
Oh, look, your argument when you say that they have training, etc., is an argument against the licensing in general, which isn't a debate. Your way is to prove why that doesn't count as a medical malpractice.
Simply because there creates ripple effects that makes it harder for public institutions to A, get funding, or B, even get doctors to begin with. Sometimes we have to sacrifice the value. We think the value is the accountability of one individual in exchange for the capacity to assist and help thousands. That's the trade-off they never made. But lastly, there's an assumption from GovBench that it's not a structural problem, and we're still rebutting negligence and negligence here, right? But let's assume that
Assume we can improve the structures as a result of this. What happens when we debar Dr. Strange? What happens is, under their model, even if you have all of the institutions, you don't have the doctors to maximize the use of any of those resources. That's the comparative. Under our model, doctors are still going to treat people more. In fact, if people die, it becomes a rallying point, right? Why are people dying? And we can't hold the doctors accountable, right? We hold the state accountable. We turn to them and say, you're the reason why it's harder for us to get treatment, right? This is where we create that rallying point for better institutions. If we always push the blame on the doctors, it becomes unlikely for us to push for a structural change to begin with. Now, let's talk about the trade-off. Because they say, we're going to treat people better. But the question is, yes, you treat people better. But rather than have 10 doctors, you only have one because you guys want to weed everybody out, or people were afraid of going in, something they never responded to. So we're also going to issue, it's a concession. The comparative is, why? Why do we need to treat more people? Because in a majority of instances, we need a lot of these doctors. And these doctors play more than one role. It means that sure, we have messed up in this one area, which is the gunshot wound. But remember, a lot of people in rural areas die because of common diseases. They die because they were treated a lot less. If we have more doctors, this is where we're able to diagnose more of those diseases, where we're able to assist even more people. In fact, this is where the doctors are more selfless, where they have that constant incentive to try to help and try to give these people a dignified death. Again, not rebutted by them, but what does it mean then to have a dignified death? And this is a very, very important, because under their model, the doctors will not do anything for fear of killing the patient or being held accountable, losing their license. Under our model, we attempt, right? Even if we misdiagnose their illness, what matters is the effort. Because what's the thing with this effort? We try to give them anesthesia. We try to make it easier for them to pass on. So if we make the evaluation that this person is going to die, inevitably, at the very least, we smooth the transition into death. Under their model, you just watch as the patient suffers. We say that's not the oath of the doctor at all. But lastly, ultimately, why is everything more accessible? And this is where we talk about the impact. Because this is where we're able to continually create an incentive to go into public hospitals. And this is an extension from my previous speaker. Because there are no paid incentives for you to enter into hospitals to begin with. It's hot, there are no facilities, and you're already paid low. This is literally a public service that you are doing. Under your model, when you add fear to the mix, it makes it less likely for you to enter this noble profession. It makes it less likely for you to try to help these rural places in the first place that need the doctor the most. More likely you're going to go to private institutions, right? More likely it's going to be harder for them to treat their common diseases. Why is this important? Because the first level is, this is where we create, where we're able to help more people, but next, we're able to better assist communities, where we're able to continue the influx of doctors, we're able to treat those deadly diseases that ultimately kill these people's lives. But the last layer of analysis is this. What happens under their side is, when doctors choose to do nothing on a systematic level, it creates an impact of a perception of inactivity. This is where people are more likely to go to quack doctors because they think that individuals are going to die if they go to the hospital, if their condition is too hard to treat. Ultimately, what do we promise under the model? We don't promise everybody. We don't promise Mr. Stark will live, but we promise you everybody else will. This is for the people in rural areas that can't afford to go to private hospitals.
We thank the Deputy Leader of Opposition for their speech to open the closing half of this debate. We'd like to call the member of government. Here.
It is not our intent who defines us as people, but the choices we make. So regardless if Dr. Strange, who is selfish, like our opening said, that he wants to be the best doctor out there, or regardless if he is selfless, like opening opposition paints him to be, what matters is that he made the choice. He made the choice to treat that individual, to diagnose that individual, even if he knew that he was undermanned and that he had less equipment, which means that the environment will most likely lead him to a mistreatment, to a misdiagnosis. And the fact that he made that choice, given the circumstances, makes him liable. What are we going to do in today's debate? And what is the stance of closing government? Our stance is we must put premium on life and to make sure that every risk or every decision that doctors will make is a calculated one, something they're sure of, because life is not something we can gamble on and based on speculation. I'm going to be the first one one in government to talk about why we make licenses given to people, when we revoke them, and why this counts as a standard for reputation, and how we make a better medical community really, in terms of number one, saving more lives, number two, making it fairer to doctors and making them more responsible, but lastly, solving the structural problem that was given by opening opposition, right? We think that under a model, it's more likely that there are alternatives anyway, right? We have to debate the fair debate, because if there are no alternatives at all, then that means in either model he will fail and government will have nothing to defend, right? But unlike your opening, I'm going to talk about what those alternatives are. In the infirmary of UPLB, or I guess another UP campus, we don't accept gunshot wounds, we don't accept life or death situations which we cannot cure, because we know that if we try to treat them or diagnose them, we're going to ultimately fail because of the environment. We also, Dr. Singh should also have demanded scaling in the hospitals, right? Like abandon the burn patients first, or get the beds of the individuals who are feverish, right? And give that to Mr. Starr, who was obviously in a more graver scenario, right? Or even we could have loved to send him to another hospital who had more resources. Those are the alternatives, but even if there are really no alternatives, if they really want to push that, and he died, right? The reason why it's much better under our side, because it proves that in the instance that he died, which Dr. Strange said he will eventually die, then this means we cannot trace any causation to Dr. Strange because he wasn't the one who treated him, he wasn't the one who diagnosed him, which is why it's not even justified. It's why we have to debate of speculative of alternatives. Because in both models, we're unsure of that. But we're unsure of is he did that, right? But before I proceed to talk about what counts as a medical malpractice anyway, go on, Alvin.
This is not UP Infirmary. These are public hospitals mandated to treat everything. Gaston said inactivity will create negative perception because of the third world media sensationalism. How will that inactivity affect the medical community and the government's image under your side?
Later on, I'm going to talk about how to create more drive for the creation of structural mechanisms to prevent these things when the doctors are on our side and the blood is on the hands of the government. But first, what counts as medical malpractice? We think that this is anything that you do that's irresponsible, that leads to the harm of an individual. Irresponsible diagnosis, wrong placement of treatment, or intentional conflicting of harm, right? We think that what counts then as responsible medical practice is when everything you do is something that you know will most likely lead to that individual being cured. Which is why on the first level, we think that even there, he wasn't able to do that, right? The argument that came from opening opposition, in essence, is that under our model, suddenly, doctors will not do anything because of we revoke Dr. Strange's license. The fact that there are multiple hospitals around the world that will be able to treat those things because they have equipment, they can diagnose them, means that it's not true that suddenly everyone will stop operating, right? But even if this is the case, and it's unlikely, we think that creates then the push for government to be able to address this. So first argument, when we give out licenses and when we take them away, we think that licenses are given only to individuals who we trust that will be accountable and responsible for the lives of the individuals. We think that when they are in charge, they are in charge of the lives of individuals who are vulnerable, which is why we revoke the licenses of teachers, of abuse students, of drivers who kill their passengers, even if it was environmental circumstances that led them to. The reason why we do that, the reason why the bar of giving licenses is high and revoking them very low is because we recognize that these are situations where individuals are most vulnerable. Second, where do we save more lives? We think we save more lives under a model because we think that individuals trust doctors more when they know that anything that will be done to them will not lead to harm. We think that when individuals go to doctors, we think that these are very vulnerable individuals because they're going to be sedated, they're more likely they're going to be unconscious. We think under a model, when news like this spreads, if we did not revoke his license, this means that it's lesser for people to trust him, or to trust doctors in general, because it means that when they go there, it's not assured if they're going to be treated or given the best care, right? That's when they're more likely to go to the quack doctors that Gaston was talking about in the debate. The comparison from Gaston was that, people are not going to go to doctors anymore because they know doctors will not treat them. We think that that is a much better harm because under models, it means that any harm done to the patient, they know will not be done by the doctor. So we think that it's important in the impact is that the only way for doctors to save more lives is if more individuals go to them. And the only way they go to doctors is when they trust them, right? But secondly, how do we create more responsible doctors? It's not that doctors will be the best all the time, like our opening said. It's just that under a model, you don't create a precedent for justifiability of wrong and uncalculated actions. Under our side, they're going to be forced to be responsible because they don't want that to happen to them. But more than that, we think we are fair to doctors under our side because we don't unfairly punish them when like situations like this happen, right? Under our model, they're not going to be forced to take in patients even if the circumstances is bad because they know it's better if they turn them away because that means they're not going to be punished. So let's go to the more structural problems, right? We think that under our model, when there are doctors turning down patients happen, we think it's beneficial. Because when we turn down patients who are more likely to die, then this means that every people who will die because we cannot treat them, we cannot diagnose them, die because of the government, because they did not provide facilities, because they did not provide more staff there. And this means that every election period we're right down to check and balances. This means that it's easier for people to pin down the accountability to them. It's easier for them to want to act based on their self-interest. Under our model, when doctors will always be forced to do this because they think my license won't be revoked anyway, I can do this. The government can always say that let's just make doctors do them because they will always do it anyway. Under our model, the way we solve structural problems is we pin it down on governments by making sure that doctors don't do practices like this, by making sure we deter them. We're very proud to propose. Thank you.
We thank the member of government for their speech. We'd like to call the member of opposition up here. Here.
Hello. Before we are able to assess any outcomes in this debate, we need to first assess the merits of the case. Because we need to afford Dr. Strange the justice that he deserves, given the context and the situation that he was faced with. Note how in the revocation of a license, this is the highest punishment the medical community can enact onto a person. It is not simply like writing a check or a suspension or like having him retrain, but it is that he is unfit totally and the most capacity is invalid for him to practice that profession. I believe that this does not meet the qualification of using this last resort or this grievance punishment as the medical community. The first thing that I want to clear up in this debate are some context. Note how opening government and closing government failed to note that this case was emergency care. What does that mean? That means that even though your infirmary is able to say no to gunshot wounds, the urgent care required to gunshot wounds is to achieve stability and stop the bleeding before they are sent away, which means that you need a clear diagnosis that it is the gunshot wound that is the problem. Shut up. But in the inability to clear up that diagnosis, the doctor probably assumed that they are already working on the best information and the diagnosis is assumed correct before you can be able to treat and maybe send them off later on. But secondly, this debate also is about public hospitals. Second time. It's public hospitals. That means that we don't have everything that we can do. We don't have every material that we want, such that maybe we have an available ambulance to send them away. It's probably unlikely as well. Or maybe we don't have a near hospital yet. But they said, but you know, there are probably other public hospitals because so that in this debate they can debate. That's not true.
Because sometimes in regions, there are only one public hospital that you have to travel 5 cities to arrive to without being able to have any access to a private hospital. It's pretty elitist for them to say. So the debate therefore boils down to what do we expect out of these doctors, and can we expect them to work miracles like Jesus and God would? And we believe that they cannot, because they are individuals. And here the most appalling thing that was said by the previous speaker was, oh, we should better the system by punishing doctors to send a message to the government. Is that logical? No, because we need to fix the government first and allow our doctors to continue treating people before we worsen these situations. What is the extension? And this is where we'll make it clear. Again, opening opposition only talked about the intent of the doctor. We're going to talk about the capability of the doctor at that moment in time, given a plethora of options. And here we're going to engage with this diagnosis that came out from opening government and closing government in this debate. First, how do we measure capability? Note that government standard for measuring capability is the outcome of the treatment. Meaning, did he know that his treatment will be successful? No. Doctors never know if their treatment will be successful. There is no such thing as a 100% cure. That's why risks will always exist. That's why there are symptoms that might happen when you are performing something. Because it is never clear, especially when your patient is an emergency case and came in because they were complaining about maybe a backache, and you maybe treated the backache, but it turned out to be a stroke. Note how that is the important nuance. Because to know that it is a stroke, you need to wait for more signs and symptoms to develop, and you need computers such as an MRI to be able to note if there is a clot in his head before being able to treat him better. Why is this important? Because it's also a waiting game. That the capacity is not relying only on the outcomes, but what he had at that moment. So if he took the BP, if he took his height and weight, if he took a risk factor such as smoking or old age, this is him doing his job and his capacity to be a doctor. Everything else, such as more intensive care units, would have only come in after he got that diagnosis. So the important thing here is context and capacity in emergency situations. That's why we have the concept of triage, that given our limited resources, how do we handle the cases that we have? We need to do what is important at that moment to the people that we are able to help. So triage means that we don't have all of these resources, but we will treat them anyway and do the best that we can. They cannot prove under government that he did not do all the best that he can, given that limited resources, because it was an emergency situation he had to deal with. So, given this context, what are his alternatives? One, do nothing. Why is doing nothing bad? Because that is an active act of doing bad to that individual and doing harm, which violates your non-maleficence principle. But second, sending him away. Note that there are risks to sending him away. He could bleed out in the emergency car. He could die on the way, or even transportation can complicate that situation such that he would have needed to establish stability for this individual first, versus treating him. The first step to treating him was diagnosis. But how would he have known? Because he was only relying on basic key points such as BP, pulse, and temperature. So, given that information, maybe he treated the headache first because that was all he knew at that point in time. Versus being able to treat his brain cancer because God forbid he had brain cancer. So the computer system is relevant to be able to get a CT scan later on to get a better diagnosis. We cannot fault him because it was not his pride that came in the way. It was his inability to get more information, but had an urgent case that he needed to deal with right now. Closing.
The fact that he did a grievous harm means that he also deserves the greatest punishment. The fact that he knew that he eventually would have died, then why did he have to go through doing mistreatment and misdiagnosis still?
No, doctors do not operate under the assumption I am mistreating my patient and I am misdiagnosing my patient. The analysis of mistreatment and misdiagnosis happens after the fact. When we have more technology and when we have more information because of the autopsy. That means when you are the doctor in the field, you do not have the capacity to re-evaluate it post-fact because you are working right now to save the patient right now given this urgent care. Given this range of options, in conclusion, which is different from opening government, this was his best decision, best thing to do to save or at least try to save that patient in all assessments. This is the best way we get justice for Dr. Strange. Second, why, if as a medical committee revoking his license causes an immediate harm to that committee? This hospital is understaffed. That means there is less doctors for them. Revoking the license of one of the only doctors there who tried his best for his patients rather than turning them away is a loss to that community, it's a loss to that doctor and to that hospital when you revoke the license of the few remaining doctors in these areas. This is distinct because opening opposition talked about future doctors. We're talking about the community now when they lose doctor change. We'd rather not have that future.
I think the member of opposition for their speech to conclude government has to call the government with figure.
Notice the problem with closing opposition. They only rely on two characterizations. That one, that alternatives will automatically fail, but two, that the likelihood of alternatives on our side become more effective, as well as the possible culpability of the doctor is because of the actions he did that led to the harm is something that cannot be a ground for actual medical malpractice. Alright, so how do we resolve this then? Let's answer two questions in the round. First, is the action of doctors change within the boundaries of responsible medical practice? But secondly, let's talk about then about the impact to the medical community and why the impact to the structures as well as to the ability of patients to get more help gets worse on their side of the house. First, is the action of doctors change within the boundaries of responsible medical practice? Let's first deal with open opposition here, because they told us they did not have an intent to commit tangible harm towards his patients. Notice how the ability to measure intent is very hard and very difficult to do. Notice that the deadline opening was he is bad and at the same time he's good. That's exactly the problem. We can't measure based on intentions alone, which is why we use the second standard, no thinking, which is the consequence and the nature of the action itself. And it's not that he did not have a choice. That's what Chis says. For this debate to play out, you have to assume a level of unfairness on their side. That you can be able to make sure that there are alternatives there anyway. But even if there are no alternatives, Chis says there are little ways that he could have done anyway. Things like scaling, which means that you could have taken a lot of other staff from relatively less critical situations and bring it to Mr. Starr, right? To make sure that we're able to give him the assistance that he needs, given the urgency and critical situation that he's already in. But secondly, we talked about moving him to another hospital, something which, by the way, they're not necessarily trying to engage. We think that this is also a likely and possible scenario which we can be able to engage in this side of the house. The only response that we got from open opposition was that he will drown in roads. Like, the question is, why is this a bigger harm? If right to life is ultimately what we are being able to achieve in this debate, then we don't think that drowning in roads is a harm that we have to be able to prioritize over the harm of him not being able to go to another hospital to get better treatment. But even if he did not do anything, we say at the very least you cannot derive causation from this action because he did not exercise imprecise treatment on that patient to begin with. We understand coming from Papa that the treatment might be speculative, but it's a problem. It's a very speculative treatment you're putting on him. And you already know that given the multiple system failures, that there is a likelihood for misdiagnosis to happen. So given that, it's already very irresponsible for him to be able to push through that, given that he knows that the situation is very critical. Anyway, so why then is precision important? And this is where Chris entered, which by the way, they didn't respond to. I think you have to be keen, Kitty cannot build anymore with that this is a life and death situation, and you cannot gamble on life. We agree that there are risks in all scenarios, no thank you. But if you think about it, the risks are calculated and precise, precisely because we have information, given that we're not relying on multiple system failures like the computers that they have. Given that these types of things are already happening, means that the level of precision that we have is already so little. And we see this precision all the time. The fact that medicines undergo so many clinical trials, less it creates more harms to individuals. This means then that the medical community prioritizes that as a value because if the goal is the protection of life, you cannot just rely on 50-50 calculations because that might lead to more harms to individuals. No thinking. So, does this count as a medical malpractice? We think yes, because it's irresponsibility that led to the death of Mr. Starr. Sure, he did not intentionally do it, but we think that because he chose to push forward, we think that the consequence of that action led to the same harm. We think from our side that licenses are given only to those responsible to take in the most vulnerable in their hands. We talk about teachers, we talk about drivers, and in the event that harms happen, even when they did not intentionally take it away, because it results to harm to individuals on the gut. We think that even if it's the highest punishment as the closing opposition was talking about, it's fine because the irresponsibility is a disrespect to the highest goal of the medical community, which is the respect, the right to life.
If outcome is a standard, then the outcome will be seen as an individual fault, and that's something that's against the interest of the medical community, which is the debate. What is the interest of the medical community under your side?
Okay, so let's talk about how then it impacts the medical community. So let's first talk about the structures. They say it's now very difficult because the accountability is individualized. We don't think so. If you think about it, if you turn down the patients because you're afraid that your license will be revoked, you can always say, look, we have very little equipment here, which means that any individual who dies as a consequence of you turning them down can also be traced into the hands of the government. Because it's the government's failure to place all these types of technologies that would result in multiple system failures that also can be the reason as to why that person died in the first place. Which means that if doctors refuse to take in patients, you can now send a chilling effect, like a message to the government that you have to be able to do something here in order for us to be able to protect more lives of individuals on the gut. On their side, doctors' irresponsibility can be justified because we have very limited resources. So the pressure is better on our side because doctors now are protesting against government. We're not going to treat these individuals because we're also afraid for ourselves and for these individuals who might get really bad treatment. But let's talk about the incentive structures of individuals then. Because we think coming from our side, which by the way opposition did not respond to, the trust is so important. If you think about it, the reason why the license is important, I already said it's because these are vulnerable situations, but the reason why you need to maintain that trust, that doctors are irresponsible, that doctors aren't going to harm you, is precisely because that incentivizes you to seek treatment. If you know that the doctor wouldn't inflict harm on you, if you know that the doctor wouldn't torture you when you're sedated, when you know that the doctor isn't going to be there just so he can be able to inflict any selfish interest that has, means that the individual is willing to push through whatever medical treatment is out there, which is largely better because if you look at the long-term implication to the medical community and the way we save more lives, it also is pegged on the incentive of individuals to be able to ask for help. We think then this is a benefit that these guys wouldn't be able to get. And if you want to be able to protect more lives, we don't think that they're able to put on their side of the house. So clearly, we think on our side, number one, we're able to prove why the license has to be taken away, given that license only have to be given to individuals who are responsible enough, and why we've proven that the medical malpractice they're doing is a sign of irresponsibility. But secondly, we've proven why structures are better able to change, or why individuals are likely to take treatment because they've maintained their trust in the doctors. We'll see you at Sandy's. Thank you.
We thank the government for their speech to conclude the debate by all opposition with you.
Individuals, but instead it should be on the merits of the case and on the individual situation of Dr. Strange Otherwise, we are actively doing an injustice to Dr. Strange by not caring what he does, but instead primarily considering the messages we send or about other individuals, and we think that is unjust. That's why the team that essentially wins the debate, spoiler exposing opposition, is essentially one that is able to prove that Dr. Strange, given the limited information, gives the most optimal choice that he did. But first, there's just one thing I want to take out of this debate, and that is only government's idea that individuals aren't going to trust doctors anymore because we did not revoke Dr. Strange's license. First, we think that individuals die all the time in hospitals. It sucks, but it is a reality and an assumed risk that everyone faces when they send individuals to hospital. Meaning, just because, Mr. Stark died and we did not revoke his license, isn't automatic, especially given that it's just one case, that you are going to have the societal impact of individuals refusing to go to hospital or just generally mistrusting the medical community as a whole. The disproportionate effect, which they never proved, just means that they've been speaking about speculative harm this entire debate. Sit down. Two, even if they lose trust, we say that trust is less important than depriving a community of competent doctors to be in order to appease unfounded fears of the society. Because in the worst case, even if they do not trust us, there are natural systems that allow us to save their lives, whether it be emergency responders, whether it be ambulances that bring them to hospitals anyway. But in their worst case, we think they come to hospitals and we have deprived so many doctors of licenses such that they cannot get the help that they need. It is clear that opposition saves more lives at the end of the day. But secondly, really, is it Dr. Strange's fault? And to do this, we need to answer two questions. First, what is the expected burden we really place on doctors, right? Coming from closing government, they say doctors ought to be able to know the outcomes, and if your outcome is that this individual essentially died, then you are essentially committing medical malpractice. But like we already said, this is an impossible burden that we cannot place on individuals because all decisions have to be based on a context that is specific to their situation, not on whether or not they will know the outcome. That's unengaged by their side. But two, coming from opening government, they said, well, doctors should be able to know the hospital capacity and the capabilities of working machines and medical technology. But again, this is not a burden we place on doctors. That's why we think we have med tech or even hospital management as a doctorate degree, because these, in terms of the technicalities of the machinery and equipment and general management of hospitals, are really beyond the scope of what we expect all doctors to know, especially if all your job really is to work in an emergency room. So therefore, we think that both sides place an unfair burden on what we expect doctors to do and on the threshold of malpractice. What is most likely the correct burden to place on these doctors? And this only came from Papa. The idea that, given your context, if you made the best decision, given the limitations, then we think you already did the best, and therefore your license should not be revoked. Therefore, given that this is the burden we ought to place on Dr. Strange, did he do that and make the best choice given the circumstance? And we're gonna compare this based on the best case of government side that you know what, there might have been a hospital nearby or that an alternative exists. So, what did they say? Well, we should have sent him to another hospital. What is the problem with that? Understand that if they are saying that it is speculative how we treat him here, it is equally speculative when we send him to another hospital because we do not have a clear diagnosis of what could happen to him since that time. Whether it be how they handled him on the way there, I don't know if the road is rocky or not, or the time on how he's going to react given a prolonged time, or even if that other hospital we are sending to is equally capable of handling it. The only time that becomes an actual feasible choice is if you know the other hospital you are sending him can equally do these types of things or has better machinery, and that's not something you essentially know at the debate. What does that mean? This means that government side gambles with fate and circumstance, and essentially, at the very least, in closing up, while we have less uncertainty because there are more things under our sphere of control. But
the bigger gamble is on your side. The harm is not speculative because there's a misdiagnosis. You didn't have an X-ray to find the root cause of the problem. We think that
If there's a concrete and non-speculative part, it's 100% possible, why will you still operate on them?
Okay, look. Situation you're saying, okay, complete and non-speculative harm does not exist in this debate. All alternatives that exist that we have do have a certain extent of speculation. Whether it be sending it to a hospital, whether it be doing nothing, or whether it be trying to treat it. The question is, where is it at the very least, the least speculative for us to do? And that's pretty clear that it's when we are able to treat it. Because at the very least, in our own hospital, we have more knowledge of what our capability is, more control in terms of the treatment that we give you, and we are being able to choose based on the different machines that we have on offer. Note that they're still relying on the idea that other areas have better ideas, or that other areas still have better doctors out there, when these are things that are just beyond our control and beyond our know-how. So we think the idea that you just leave it up to chance is essentially more harmful. We think that speculation was ultimately also government standard in this debate. And we think that they were inconsistent in being able to prove why their own side was at the very least the least speculative. The only thing they said was, well, how does might be speculative? At least it's not our fault. But we think it is if you know that it is a more speculative and more uncertain choice, and you send him there anyway, just to be able to protect yourself, then we think that's not a speculative choice. That is an active decision to prioritize your own accountability over the possible welfare of other individuals. And we think that's not even something that we even want in this debate. At the end of the day, ultimately, Dr. Strange is, while may or may not have magic powers, not the best, not perfect, and not someone who has a monopoly of choices and a monopoly of knowledge. We have to take it like Papa said, in the context of the public hospital, in the context of the emergency situation, and in the limited resources. We think he did the best that he could do.
Thank the opposition for the speech united by Pascual.